Arbortext Monster Garage. With Arbortext in your tool chest, you can do anything. My name is Liz Fraley, and I'll be your moderator today. I'd like to advise everyone that today's presentation will be recorded for replay purposes. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a few logistics. The lines are muted. If at any time you experience technical difficulties, use the question window in the GoToWebinar panel, and I'll be with you shortly. If you have questions during the session, please feel free to submit them through your question window. Unless you tell me otherwise, I'll ask the question for you at the next opportune moment. However, if you'd like to be unmuted so you can ask the question directly to our presenter, please just let me know. We'll answer questions during the presentation and at the end. This morning, we're excited to have Jason Aiken from InfoTrust. Jason is an expert at print and online publishing using all kinds of tools on all kinds of operating systems. Jason was one of the first users to present on his experience using XUI Dialogs and has presented on it multiple times at Arbortext conferences since then. Today, he's going to show us the basics for creating and using XUI Dialogs. XUI can be an extremely useful tool if you're trying to change the environment you or your users work in. Now I'll turn the presentation over to today's shop coach, Jason Aiken. Jason, it's all yours.
All right, thanks, Liz. So hello, everyone. I'm Jason Aiken from InfoTrust Group. I've got just a few slides to kind of frame the discussion. This one's just a little bit about InfoTrust Group. They're just another solutions provider in the industry here. So let's move on. So what is XUI? XUI is an XML-based user interface. It basically is an XML document that allows you to customize the Arbortext Editor interface, using elements and attributes and some kind of tried and true user interface element names and so on. So for anyone who has more of a programming background and they've used something like Java Swing or other user interface frameworks, it's going to look very similar. But in fact, it's using this XML user interface language that was sort of created by Mozilla. For event handling, which is the actual bits that make the customizations you create do stuff. It supports W3C XML events, so it's kind of open standard for that, and it also manipulates dialog components as well as allows you to manipulate your XML documents using the Arbortext extensions to the document object model. So there's a few examples I'd like to kind of show. We're going to go ahead and go over to my Arbortext Editor window, so hopefully everyone can see this. Basically, if you go to the File New window in Arbortext Editor out of the box, you're going to see a list of doc types that come with Arbortext out of the box. You can browse to others. I've browsed to the XUI doc types that are within the Arbortext Editor install path. Okay, so this is just out of the box with Arbortext Editor. I'm using an older version. I think it's version 5.3 M30, but the doc types are can be shipped with all of them. And so they've got this XML user interface 1.0. It's technically 1.1, but anyway, we can go ahead and open up a new document following that DTD, and out of the box we kind of get this document map display where you can really see the elements in sort of this grid layout, or you can view them in the tag interface in the Arbortext Editor window that that you're used to. And the root element, as you can see, is a window. If you hit Control D, you bring up the Modify Attributes dialog box on any of these, and you can go ahead and set the different attributes in there. A typical one for a window is that it would have a title, so that's going to be the title for this window is Modify Attributes. I'm just going to create one called My XUI. And then you hit the Enter key, just like editing any other XML document in Arbortext Editor. It's going to show you the list of available elements that are there. and you know, a bunch of these are just kind of the different, you know, widgets that you can go ahead and start building up a user interface. I'm going to go ahead and organize my my interface components in a group box. It's recommended best practice. And then within that, I can go ahead and just add a simple button. And I'm going to go ahead and just basically just create a label for, you know, my button there. And then, you know, there's a variety of attributes here. Don't be, you know, too afraid of those. You know, the key thing to remember is that when you're creating a button, you know, you're going to want that button to have a label so it actually says something. And then there's, you know, some different types of buttons. Most of them you're going to set to be the type of accept. Cancel is, you know, the typical cancel button. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. A nifty feature when you're using Arbortext Editor to create your XUI dialog is that you can go to the Tools menu and you can click View Dialog and kind of see what you've created so far, and, you know, see what happens when it's resized. So you can kind of see the three components I've created. I've got a title on my window. I've got a group box, which is kind of organizing everything within this box bar to have multiple buttons or components. You know, it's good to organize the things in little boxes. And then you've got the button here with the label that I've added. So far, it doesn't actually do anything. We haven't set up any event handling. You know, so I can click on the button all I want. It's not really doing anything, but, you know, this is kind of how you get started. And it can get, you know, you can just, you know, play around in here all you want. You can add, you know, a tabbed interface by, you know, adding a tab box, a tab panel, maybe, you know, just show you how quick and easy it is to set that up. It's, you know, when you start playing around with this, you know, you can get pretty dangerous pretty quickly. And you know, so maybe if I want to have this button appear inside this first tab, I'll go ahead and put it there. And then I want a different button to appear over here. So I'm just going through and modifying my attributes again, and maybe this I'll have as my cancel button. So you would never, you know, normally create this kind of user interface, but I just wanted to show you, like, you know, how you can mess with it. So by default, my tabs are all, you know, sort of collapsed and stuck together, but I've got a button on my first tab and a button on my second tab. And if I didn't like that in some way, I could go and you know, change the height and width so that when it opens up, it's got a little bit more of a, you know, it looks more like a dialog that you're used to. So, you know, pretty quickly you can set up some different user interface components, and you've got, you know, a number of different, you know, widgets that you can set up. You know, check boxes, combo boxes, the basic you know, text box, and you know, spinners and radio buttons and so on. So you know, kind of the, you know, you're limited by your imagination and the XUI DTD in terms of what you can create. Another nice thing about using the Arbortext Editor, you know, area to do it is if you've ever got something that's you know, required by the, you know, the Arbortext you know, DTD, you know, kind of gives you that validation as you're going through it. And then you know, you can also have that instant gratification, you know, seeing, you know, as you're creating your customization on the fly, you can see right away what you're doing there. So a lot of times when you get started, you know, with anything new like this, you know, you're going to want to look at some examples that are already out there. And on our last slide, we'll you know, show you where you can go for some examples. But a lot of your examples are going to be right there in your Arbortext Editor path. You know, typical of most of the Arbortext supplied doc types, they give you a demo so that anytime you go, you know, file new, if you click this sample button here, it's actually going to bring up a, the sample with that doc type. And in this case, Arbortext has shown a little more advanced dialog, in XUI, and you can see all the code behind it and see how it works. And they've got kind of a combination of things for a find dialog, and that there the cancel button actually works, and so on. So you've got a lot of power right within Arbortext Editor to be able to see some of their working examples. They also have some XUI samples in their samples directory. So one thing that can be a lot of fun for you is to just go ahead and dig into their samples directory. I think I've got a shortcut to that on my desktop, but so the actual path is just this samples directory in your Arbortext Editor path, and then they've got a XUI folder, and inside there they've got some more examples. And before we go to a more advanced example, I'd like to show you one of those that they've supplied that's called the Simple Embed, which is kind of cool because you can actually use Arbortext Editor to basically create a dialog to replace the input of element content in your documents. So here's the sample Arbortext document that they supplied for this. It's got some book information at the top, and they've got this ISBN element where the user could put in some content for an ISBN info. And a lot of times you may have in your real world example maybe like some sort of metadata at the top of your documents that you want to control via dialog. And so the way that you go and do that is basically you can hijack this particular element and say, okay, I only want this element to be edited via a XUI dialog. And it's pretty simple. One of the steps that you have to do in order to set that up is open the DCF file associated with your doc type. So I've opened up the Simple Embed DCF file, and basically you got to go into the special section of that file and add a XUI control element. Okay, so I've got one here on the clipboard, or I did, but you basically just add the XUI control element, and then you're going to say, okay, well, which of my elements am I going to replace? I'm going to replace the ISBN element, and the XUI file name, that's really the XML file for your dialog. It's going to be Simple Embed XML. So what I'm saying is I'm basically replacing this element with this dialog. Go ahead and save that, and then now back here in my document, it's already updated for me. It's got kind of a refresh issue there, so I'm just going to close the document, and then I'm going to reopen it. So here's the dialog, and then I can go ahead and type in there. And so that's just a simple way to embed XUI right into your documents, or you can add kick off XUI dialogs from your Arbortext menus. So let's take a look at another example that basically replaces the out-of-the-box cross-reference features with Arbortext. So I think that's dig around here. Got this file set up for it. So this is again, this is just the demo file with the AX docbook doc type. So again, this is one of the Arbortext doc types that comes with Arbortext out of the box. And what we've done is we've just kind of created this cross-reference dialog. But if you're familiar with the Arbortext custom directory and you want to play around with that, and this is all described in the documentation, but basically what you do is you put your XUI dialogs here in your custom directory, And then if you've got supporting code for it, you can throw that in the scripts folder. And then in my case, I've got this basically this simple ACL file that just initializes that dialog whenever I open up a sample document from the using the AX docbook in my custom directory. So I'm going to go ahead and open that file up. And so now I'm actually going to have this insert cross-reference menu item. So this wasn't there just a minute ago. I had to go and basically edit the file extension on that ACL file. So now that the ACL file is triggered whenever I open a document instance of the AX docbook doctype. And this dialog is a little more advanced, but it's still just basically trying to help you insert a a cross-reference inside a document. So maybe I've got this here that's talking about the organization of this guide, and this first bullet is matching this first chapter. So I want to go ahead and right here and just say, okay, if someone happens to be looking at this, they can just go ahead here, insert cross-reference. I'm going to insert the reference to my chapter 1. Got other element types I might want to select there, and then the different targets available, and in the different cross-reference formats are all kind of set up. So I'm going to go ahead and click the insert button, and then what it's done for me is it's gone and inserted this XREF element with attributes already populated that match the selections I had in the dialog box. So it's not quite as user friendly as we saw in the dialog box, but by providing the dialog box, then the users can just work with the kind of the content that they're used to, and then they don't have to worry about going into the modify attributes dialog box and editor and populating the different fields with what needs to be there. So now I've got a working cross-reference. So those are 3 examples very quickly of how you can benefit from XUI in your own Arbortext environment. We can go ahead and go into my Dialogs folder and open up this Dialogs, this cross-reference one. You can see that this is all the XML markup that it takes to create this particular dialog, with 2 buttons and the different items. So we could supply this to you so that you can download this along with the presentation or whatever, and go ahead and see how this is created. But you've got like little separators here between the combo boxes, and then you've got a couple of buttons and so on. So it's all organized into one of those boxes. Here at the end we've got a button, and you can see the basically the simple JavaScript that's being called with the cancel button to this close button actually close the dialog and get that working. So that's all we have with the sample portion of our presentation. What I'd like to leave you with is where you can go to learn more. The Arbortext Customizer's Guide is really your first stop for learning more about XUI. As I said, you've also got sample code provided by PTC Arbortext right in your installation of Arbortext Editor. You can go ahead and play with some of the samples that they have there. You also have another example in the XUI doctype folder itself. There's some additional code samples that are available online if you go to adepters.org. This is where various members of the community have shared a variety of examples. Some of them get pretty advanced. And then if you're more into seeing some of the behind the scenes and how the coding works, you've got the Mozilla XML user interface page, as well as the W3C page here. and sort of a quick and dirty reference for JavaScript. If you're just getting started with JavaScript, this tends to help you figure out that landscape. So that's all we have with the slides. Like I said, the Arbortext Customizer's Guide, the PDF document shipped with the product. It's got a whole chapter, about 70 pages worth of detail that give you the overview and additional step-by-step kind of instructions on how they set up that Find dialog box in their own example. So that's really that's where you go to get dirty with this in your own Arbortext Garage.
Wow, excellent. Thank you, Jason.
Yep, you're welcome.
That was fabulous. So, while we have a chance, if folks want to type some questions into the question window, I'll take the opportunity to remind people of all the resources available to Arbortext users. Where there's a large and tight-knit community, and if there's a lot of things that are available for you, this is just one of them. You can go to the URL at the bottom of the page to click on them directly. We already have questions. First question is, Jason, can you quickly show the ACL script you used to initialize the demo XUI? Just hand that right back to you real quick.
Yep, I'll be happy to do that.
All right.
So here's the custom folder again. Oops, lost it. And in there we've got a little bit of ACL in this edited init directory. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I like when people ask to see the code because it's sometimes we think it's not the most exciting part of the presentation, but it's really how it all works. So it's if you're familiar with ACL, there's you typically, when you're creating your own custom ACL, you kind of organize your ACL code in a package. So we've got our package declaration at the top, and then we're going through and declaring some functions, and we're saying, okay, there's a set of code around basically pointing Arbortext Editor to our cross-reference dialog, and we're just saying to Arbortext, get the custom directory location and just take that out of there. And then there's another function for anytime I'm going to insert an XREF element, and that's something I didn't demonstrate. I went through this menu way of doing it, but anytime a user were to insert the XREF element, we're basically doing a callback to bring up the window that we declared here above, and launch the XUI, so that when they insert that element, instead of getting the typical XREF element interface that you would get, or just inserting the element itself and editing the attributes manually, we've hijacked that to get the XUI dialog. And then here, what we're doing is we're saying, okay, we're going to add this cross-reference item to the insert menu, and that's what I did demonstrate, was that before we had this this ACL file active in the edit init folder, we went under the insert menu. We didn't see this cross-reference menu item, and we went and basically initialized the ACL file, opened up the demo file, and then we were able to see this menu item, and that's how we sort of activated our customization. So you can see that basically when you go through and you select that menu item, you're just basically doing that same callback.
Excellent.
Any further questions on the ACL code, or?
So we will find out if that answers the question. Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So, and if anybody else has other questions, go ahead and type it in. We see one person who said they are amazed at how clean your desktop is. I have to agree with that.
Yeah, that's because I went and put everything in this folder before I got started. So.
Excellent.
That's to protect the innocent.
That's cheating. Someone wants to know what bridge that is on your desktop also.
Yeah, this is a bit of a trivia question. This is the suspension bridge in Bristol, England.
Oh, very cool.
So it went there. This is a picture from about a year ago, and this part over here on the left, there's just kind of a low railing here. This is the #1 suicide spot in the country, or at least in the city of Bristol. So, but this bridge is about 700 feet over this estuary that that goes out to the Atlantic Ocean. It's a really interesting seafaring town in the UK there on the kind of southwestern corner that has a lot of history associated with it.
Excellent. We have another question. Have you tried James Sulak's A query with XUI?
I have not myself. I have gone and I've done some XUI with JavaScript. I've done XUI that interfaces with ACL and Java, and I've done some XUI customizations that some simple demonstrations of launching ActiveX controls. That's been about as far as I've had to play with XUI for different projects.
All right. Hopefully that answers the question. All right. So we're coming right up on the hour. Again, here's the resources for Arbortext users. I want to leave that up on the screen in case anyone else has any other questions or wants to know where you can go for more information through our community. Jason, thank you so much for doing this. I couldn't have asked for anything better. You're fabulous. You're still the man for XUI questions.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Next week, make sure you come back. We're going to see what more you can do, but digging a little deeper into XUI by tacking on some enhanced capability into the back end of the dialogues we built today. You don't want to miss it. So, and those of you, we've got lots of shop coaches. If you need help or you want to be a shop coach, we'd love to have you. I think I've already targeted one of our group members because he's got answered questions on the Adapter's website. So we're certainly love to have him. Thank you, Jason. You did a fabulous job.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Bye.